future of print, faster systems, smarter automation. What is the biggest change happening in the print and web to print industry right now? Today's conversation reminds us about the future of print, faster systems, smarter automation. Given you valuable time, thank you so much for being on the show. I mean, it's from you, the whole world. I mean, my audience would know the AI, SaaS, and the automation structure today. The first question: what is the biggest change happening in the print and web to print industry right now?
Thank you so much, first of all, for having me on. I really appreciate you making the time as well, and also talking about these topics, which are very important
Yes.
to me. The first change, the major change, the major shift, it's two letters. It's AI. We all know about it. But why is that affecting web to print? Why is that affecting industry? Well, what's happening is if you think about what you do in your personal life, you research
Right.
products, you research information now through ChatGPT, through
Of course.
Claude, through Perplexity, right?
Yes.
You pick up the phone and you say, tell me about the best printer down the road. Tell me about where I can buy shoes for my kids. Tell me if I should have this medicine, whatever
Yes.
it may be. The way the chat LMMs are being used is like a search engine now, okay? And that's changing
Right.
the landscape of how the consumer purchases. So what we're seeing and what we've seen in 2025 going into 2026 is another layer before web to print, what we call the research layer. And it's where the consumer, whether that's a business consumer or consumer of household products, they will ask a question first. And we're now seeing that actually it's becoming more than just a search engine, but it's becoming a way of trusting
Right.
that research, right? So how's that going to change web to print? Well, web to print's now going to sit not at the front of the workflow anymore. It's going to sit in second place because you're going to have something
Okay.
called GEO, which will sit in front of that. And systems like Etsy and Shopify are aware of this, and they're creating the ability in 2020, late 2026, 2027, to have ads and the idea of buying products through ChatGPT through a search. So this changes the
Right.
way really we're going to sell with web to print now.
Right. I mean, this a very vast change in what we have seen with time and time. I mean, in early 80s it was different, 90s were different, 2000 were different, and 2020 is super different.
That's where it's changing from web to print on the front end in the first part
True.
of purchasing. But there's even more ability for using AI from once you've received that job as well, and it's then in the workflow.
Right.
So I think that's also worth just touching on a little bit before we move on to the second question. But I think we run a couple of campaigns where we say web to print is dead, long live print on demand. It's quite a disruptive campaign, but the reason we're sort of raising that is language and mindset needs to change. Web to print cannot be a template driven approach anymore. It needs to be an
Of
agnostic,
course.
multiple
Yes.
vertical. A printer now may need to have a label operation, a general commercial print operation, maybe direct mail. And to do that, they
Right.
need a special stack. So we're trying to change the mindset
True.
here.
True. I was just coming to the question that, Chris, do you believe AI completely, or you verify before submitting it?
That's a great question. I think I see a lot of benefit in it personally. We use a lot of Claude code operations internally, but everything that we use, we have an operator, a human, who adds that creative
Of
flair,
course.
that strategy. I do believe in
And
it. Yeah,
no,
I
you got
do.
to verify. You got to verify everything, whatever ChatGTP cloud gives you with the real stats.
Yeah, in
Don't
it from
verify. If you just submit blankly, you will fail
yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, and a print production point of view, it's fantastic.
Oh,
It reduces errors, it reduces waste, it reduces touch points, customer service. But I think the piece that we always miss in the print industry is that we've been using artificial intelligence within our workflows for 20 years now, but we're only aware of it because
right.
of education through the chat GPTs of this world, right? So if you look at products like In Focus, Switch,
Uh-huh.
they're using, very forms of AI. So it's not new to our industry, but I think we're now using it at a higher intensity and a greater speed.
True. Well, it was just great to discuss about the AI, the pros and cons. The second question, how can print business use AI and automation in a practical way?
I think for me, the first rule of thumb would be let's not use the word AI. Let's look at our business
Hmm?
processes and how we operate.
Of
How's our
course.
performance? Can we be more like time efficient? And what
Right.
tools and programs are out there that will record meeting notes, that will follow up, that will cut down the touch points. So let's think about where we can save an hour a day per
Uh,
department. So that could be sales, that could be marketing, that could
right.
be anything from, your MIS system or whatever, basically, or your ERP. But generally, try and come away from signing up to multiple AI systems and have, look at each job where you could look at saving time. There will be an
Yeah.
AI solution there. I would start there. Then getting into the nitty gritty under the hood, let's look at the workflow. Let's look at how efficient the workflow is from receiving the job file to getting it on the press.
Right.
And let's see how we can
Yes.
minimize touch points, how we can minimize picking up the phone, how we can minimize emailing people, because the tools are there to reduce all of that.
Exactly. You have to use the tools for your benefit. If you don't use the tool, you are wasting it.
Yeah.
The third question, what marketing mistakes do you see most often in print and SaaS companies does?
That's a great question. I've come across many fantastic SaaS
Wow.
products, and that always shocks me that they don't highlight the partner network or their connectivity through their API suite. Why that shocks me is that most businesses now already have software or software debt. They may have
Right.
software programs they cannot get out of contracts with, so they need to learn to work or utilize them better. If you're looking for a missing piece of the puzzle and you see that it works with your existing systems, that's a
Right.
quicker sale. And I think they miss a
Of
partner
course.
strategy. And moving on from that, not just highlighting you work with company X or you integrate with company Y, but also showing a case study or white paper or a live demonstration of how the two talk to each other. I think what we're
Mm.
trying to promote from our business is software stacks. What is your software stack in your business? How does it
That's right.
connect?
Yes.
How does it talk? And how do they all complement each other?
Right. I mean, of software is full of loaded with things that we give command to. The fourth question, why is mental health and human sustainability become such an important topic in the print industry?
Yeah, I think that's a really good one. I'm very, very dedicated to this subject. I helped set up a mental health and wellness not-for-profit charity in the US called Sheet for Brains. And this was all, I mean, mainly born out of business, the stresses of being a business owner in the print industry. But I think to your question
Right.
around why it's important right now is that we're talking about AI and software. We're talking about ChatGPT. We live in a world where we are inundated with not just AI slop, but we're bombarded by social media noise. We're
Of
bombarded
course.
by WhatsApp messages. Our phones consume us. We have all this information all the time coming at us. And I think there comes a point where we need to be aware that there's mental overload from too much work or too much information or too much screen time. And I think it's being aware and managing the knock-on effects this can have negatively on individuals. And we ran a couple of stories this week on Gen Z, and all it was just highlighting the fact that the white wired earphones from Apple
Yeah.
are now 20% up in sales because the Gen Z are now more wired than say our generation who want to go
Yeah.
wireless, right?
Yes.
So
Yes. Yes.
there's a
I agree.
tactile, yeah, there's a tactile connected world coming. Vinyl's coming back. Print. We talk about in the print industry, direct mail is very strong right now. So there's a shift
Yeah.
where I think the next generation, our new customers, which we should all be aiming for, which is Gen Z, they are connecting in a different way, and I think they're aware of mental health. They're more aware of managing that, and therefore they're leaning in a different way. So I think naturally we're evolving slightly differently. I think we've had a huge
Right.
input in the information age. And I think now that, taking care of yourself, whether it's physically or mentally, is actually a cool thing. And actually we're aware that if we don't, that there's a severe amount of burnout. And also, like, again, our kids, we all talk about screen time with our kids. We talk about there's too much. And this is very closely linked with a marketing message here as well, Mark, in the sense of, if you want to beat your competitors, then you're not necessarily going to put all your content on social media, but you need to get your
Of
content
course.
in your competitor. And that could be something physical that they have in their hands. That could be radio advertising. It could be something where
Yeah.
all the noise isn't.
Moreover, radio, Spotify, SoundCloud, this is going more live like these days. I mean, if you're talking about Gen Z. The fifth question, what will matter most in the future of print, technology, branding, or human connection?
That's a fantastic question. I think we're seeing that evolution now, and I touched on it just a minute ago with the Gen Z and how they're interacting with the world. I think what we're going to see is a return to more tactile physical interaction with things. I see that the technology is going to become important to do really cool things and make things more accessible. So personalization, customization will be a prerequisite. Every printer will have
Next
to do
level,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But then when you receive it, then what will that piece do when you receive it? So we're working with a company in West Coast in America at the moment, and what we're working on is when a direct mail arrives, how AI
Okay.
can then interact, talking to you with your personal
Wow.
questions, giving you answers. So let's say it's a real estate piece, and you've got a nice card come through about a property. Now, you like the property, but you want to know what the local schools are like. You want to know what the local politicians are. You want to know where the nearest supermarket is. You would scan that QR code and you would have that interaction through ChatGPT, through Claude, or whatever it may be on your phone, that would then give you that information. So you're already starting to make buying decisions based on what questions you personally want to ask. So I see the technology being really important. I see it being really accessible for the print shop. I see the print shop modernizing and changing their workforce to be a little bit more tech savvy, or bringing in consultants to be tech savvy. But I see print, the end product of print, being something quite exciting, and the emotional connection with a human.
Trust me, it is going way then beyond what we expected. We never thought that AI will take over this way, Claude will come this way, ChatGPT will take. I mean, like the fourth question you said, the Gen Z, what they're going to do in the next 5 years, you have no clue. It will be
Yeah,
more faster. Some product, maybe some ChatGPT, some Claude, after 5 years also taking up, beating one or the other.
it's an interesting time.
That's all. Yeah. Well, today's conversation remind us the future of print. That's about faster system, smarter. It's about smarter automation. It's about building business that both efficient and deeply human. A big thank you to you, Chris, for joining to the session. Everyone who's listening this episode, if you enjoyed this, make sure you follow, share. Let's join our conversation for innovation, business growth, and human side of technology. Until next time, stay creative, stay adaptable, and keep building with purpose. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you very much, guys.
So, what is the best email address if anybody wants to get in touch with you?
My email address is chris@thedigitalink.co, or you can reach us at thedigitalink.co.
Thank you so much.